The dashboard screen lit up as another toll was deducted. Linda watched the highway gantry flash overhead, its cameras capturing her license plate.
Every single morning, another cut from a road I can't avoid.
The screen glowed with the logo of Reed Infrastructure, but to Linda, it felt personal. A name she had tried to forget. For a split second, an image pushed through. An old pickup, perched in a driveway, and a man standing proud next to it.
Those words I spat at him years ago. I can't be seen in that thing.
She shook her head, killing the memory before it could fully form.
It's just a toll road. Nothing more.
But the unease in her stomach whispered that wasn't true. She gripped the wheel harder and merged into the rush hour flow, the toll gantry shrinking in her rearview mirror. 5 years earlier, the same truck sat in the driveway of their small suburban home. Ryan was building a civil engineering side business from the kitchen table, but Linda had other priorities.
Before my friends get here, move that eyesore behind the house.
Ryan said nothing. He just walked outside, started the engine, and parked the truck out of sight. The afternoon went smoothly. Wine, laughter, not a single mention of a husband who fixed roads. But when the last guest left, Linda's smile vanished.
You embarrass me, Ryan. Every time they see that rusted heap, they think I'm married beneath me.
It runs fine. It's what I use for my projects.
I can't be seen in that thing. If you had any ambition, you'd sell it and buy a real car.
Ryan stood motionless, the keys to the old truck heavy in his pocket. He didn't argue. Over the following month, Linda threw herself into late nights at the office and into Ethan Cole's orbit.
Ethan, you actually see the future. Not everyone is stuck fixing potholes with a rusty pickup.
A woman like you deserves a partner who builds empires, not just roads.
At home, the distance grew. Linda came home late, smelling of expensive cologne.
Ethan closed the Halston deal today. His bonus alone is more than you'll make in years.
I used to be enough for you.
I want a divorce, Ryan. I can't waste my life waiting for you to become somebody.
It's about him, isn't it?
He's already offered me the life I deserve. You never stood a chance.
She packed a bag that night. 3 days later, the divorce papers arrived, couriered to their door. Ryan picked up the pen without glancing at the terms. He signed where the lawyer had marked. Then he walked to the bedroom closet and pulled out a worn duffel bag.
She can have the house, the savings. I don't need any of it.
In the fading sunset, he tossed the bag into the bed of the old pickup. Linda stood at the kitchen window, watching him move. A flicker passed her face.
He didn't even ask for the truck.
The engine turned over with a rough growl, a sound that had become more familiar than their conversations.
This old heap never cared how I looked.
He pulled out of the driveway and didn't look in the rearview mirror once. Linda stayed at the window until the red taillights shrank into the dark. Then she turned away. 300 miles away, Ryan rented a room barely bigger than the truck's cab.
300 miles away, Ryan rented a room barely bigger than the truck's cab.
She said I had no ambition. Let these calluses prove otherwise. He spent days cold calling contractors, evenings studying drainage specs by streetlight. A small paving company needed a sub-consultant for a culvert repair. Ryan bid low and won. With the first check, he registered a name, Reed Infrastructure. The office was a rented mailbox and a prepaid phone. 6 weeks later, the job was done. The project manager shook his hand and said,
You are thorough. I'll send more work your way, one culvert at a time.
That night, he stuck the company registration certificate on the wall above his fold-out table. Over the next 18 months, his reputation grew. More contracts, a small crew, a real office. He hired 2 junior engineers and moved into a rented office with actual windows.
Every mile of asphalt felt like a mile further from her voice.
When the state released plans for a tolled bypass, Ryan recognized the corridor immediately.
She'll drive it every day, pay every day, and never know who built it.
He gathered his team. 6 weeks of all-nighters. When the state opened the envelopes, Reed Infrastructure had the lowest viable bid. The contract signing took 2 minutes. After, no one remembered to take a photo. Construction began that summer. The old truck sat parked by the site trailer, its odometer frozen.
One culvert at a time. Now I am building her cage.
He didn't linger on the thought. There were deadlines to meet. 2 years later, the tolled bypass opened with a ribbon cutting that Linda didn't attend. News anchors called it the solution to gridlock. Linda called it her only route to the office on time. She and Ethan had bought a house just outside the city, affordable, but dependent on the new road.
I'll be late every day without this bypass. 15 miles longer otherwise.
Ethan barely looked up from his phone. His career had stalled, and the house had become quiet. Linda registered online that night. The screen flashed a welcome banner. Reed Infrastructure.
Reed. That name. No, it's nothing. A common surname.
The first morning, she eased onto the ramp, and the transponder beeped. The arm lifted. Within minutes, she was downtown, on time for once. But the toll charge stuck in her mind. She told herself it was just a toll, nothing personal. But the name echoed every morning. By the 3rd month, toll statements piled on her desk like unpaid guilt, each page stamped with the same logo.
Another $9. It's like a subscription to my own commute.
She traced a finger over the Reed Infrastructure letterhead, a name that refused to feel neutral.
Ethan, this toll is bleeding us. Over $200 a month just to get to work.
You wanted the house in the suburbs. This is the cost of your choice.
He didn't look up from his phone. The same phone he'd been glued to since his promotion fell through. Across the city, Ryan opened the quarterly revenue dashboard. He scrolled past aggregate data until one household account drew a thin, knowing smile. He closed the tab. Outside, his black SUV gleamed under the building lights. A Reed Infrastructure logo on the door. Linda added another statement to the pile, wondering how long she could afford the fastest route. 2 more years of toll charges and clipped conversations passed. The house had grown cold long before the thermostat did. Every morning, the transponder beeped the same cold greeting. She'd stopped checking the balance months ago.
I could take the long way, but who has the time?
One Thursday, a beat-up pickup merged in front of her, faded red, rust along the wheel well.
The spitting image of a ghost she'd buried years ago.
For a moment, she was back in that driveway, watching a younger Ryan polish the same rusted hood. The pickup took the next exit, but the image stuck. She hadn't wondered about him in years. That evening, she found Ethan in the living room, scrolling silently. The silence between them had become its own furniture.
He used to have opinions. Now he just has a phone.
She opened her mouth to mention the truck, then closed it. Some ghosts are better left buried. The next morning, the dashboard flashed a notification. Unusual toll activity. $30 overcharged.
They overcharged me. Without so much as an email?
She pulled into a rest stop and dialed the customer service number printed on her transponder.
My account was overcharged. And I want to know who's behind Reed Infrastructure. Who owns it?
The voice on the line paused. Ownership details were confidential, the rep said. She could only process the refund.
Confidential? That's not normal for a public toll road.
She demanded a supervisor. The answer didn't change.
Fine. Just refund the $30.
After the call, she stared at the Reed logo on the statement in her glove box. The name a splinter she couldn't extract. She crumpled the statement and tossed it onto the passenger seat. The drive home felt longer than ever. 3 days later, a thick cream envelope appeared on the marble entryway table. Linda slid it open with her thumb, an embossed invitation to the city's annual infrastructure charity gala.
I am not in the mood for champagne and small talk. I'll skip it.
It's good for your career. People expect you there.
He hasn't attended an event with me in months.
Ethan scrolled his phone, already checked out of the conversation. The silence hung heavier than before.
Maybe a night out is exactly what I need. Anywhere but here. Fine, I'll go.
That night, she hung a deep emerald gown on the closet door, the first evening dress she'd touched in years. The gala venue rose against the night sky, pillars glowing, oblivious to the reunion it was about to stage. Linda stepped through the gala's entrance, the chandelier light catching the emerald silk of her gown. She scanned the room, recognizing faces from corporate newsletters, but none she knew well. A fragment of conversation cut through the ambient hum, two men discussing tonight's largest benefactor. The words Ryan Reed landed on her ear like a verdict.
Number. It's a common name. It can't be him.
Across the ballroom, a tall man in a charcoal blazer stood surrounded by admirers. He laughed easily, gesturing with a wine glass, entirely at home in this world.
The truck. The driveway. That's the man I threw away.
She couldn't move, couldn't look away. The past had just walked through the door, and she had no idea what to do about it. Linda turned to slip into the crowd, but Ethan's hand found her elbow. He'd just returned from the bar.
Let's head over there. That's the guy who built the toll road. I want to shake his hand.
Before she could protest, he was pulling her toward the very man she'd been trying to escape. Ryan's gaze swept casually across the room, and when it landed on them, his smile didn't falter.
Good evening, Ryan Reed. I don't believe we've met.
He's actually pretending he doesn't know me.
Ethan thrust his hand out eagerly, and Ryan shook it without breaking eye contact with Linda.
Enjoying the gala? The canapes are surprisingly good this year.
A pleasure. Linda Cole.
The name hung between them, a deliberate weapon. Ryan's expression didn't flicker. He simply nodded. Ethan, oblivious, launched into questions about the toll road. Ryan answered smoothly, praising the project's impact.
It's just one of our smaller infrastructure pieces. A steady stream of revenue, but nothing flashy.
How did you even start? I mean, building a company from scratch, that's incredible.
I started with just an old pickup truck. Hauled materials. Took any job. I still keep it as a reminder.
Linda's jaw tightened. The room suddenly felt 10 degrees warmer.
He's not just talking about any truck. He's talking about that truck.
Sentimental, I know. But it's important to remember where you started.
Excuse me. I need the restroom.
She turned quickly, not waiting for a response, weaving through the crowd toward the exit. Ethan stared after her, puzzled. Ryan simply took a slow sip of his wine. Inside the restroom, Linda gripped the marble sink, knuckles white.
He built a toll road. My toll road. And I've been paying him for years.
She splashed cold water on her face, smearing mascara. None of it helped.
I should just leave. Grab my clutch and run.
But the thought of walking away, of letting him win without a word, burned worse.
I'll find him. Ask him about the truck. See if he can still look me in the eye.
She returned to the ballroom and scanned the crowd. Ethan was talking to someone else now. Ryan was nowhere to be seen. The crowd had swallowed him whole.
He can't have left. He's the star of this circus.
She moved past waiters, past donors, past conversation clusters, searching for the charcoal blazer. After 10 fruitless minutes, she stopped at a tall arched window, pressing her forehead to the cool glass to steady her breathing. The view dropped 3 stories to the hotel's marble lobby, bathed in golden light from massive chandeliers. In the center, a single spotlight illuminated a large glass display case, empty of anything modern. Inside it sat an old pickup truck, faded red paint, rust eating at the wheel wells, a dent in the driver door.
That's his truck. The one I made him park behind the house.
Her hand flattened against the glass, fingers curling as if she could reach down and touch it.
He kept it. After everything, he kept that rusted heap.
A brass plaque sat at the base, its engraved letters too far to read. Just a glint of gold. Linda didn't move. She couldn't. The gala noise faded behind her. There was only the truck. Linda's legs carried her to the elevator before her mind could form a plan. She jabbed the lobby button. When the doors opened, her heels clicked across marble, the only sound in the empty lobby. The display case dominated the center, its spotlight cutting through the dim hall. She approached, her reflection sliding over the glass, until she stood inches from the rusted driver door. Her gaze fell to the plaque. She bent down, squinting at the engraving, the vehicle that built every mile. Reed Infrastructure.
He's the one. Every toll I've paid, every statement I've thrown away, it all went to him.
A choked sound escaped her throat, half laugh, half sob. She stumbled backward, palm slapping the glass. The man she'd called an embarrassment. The man she'd abandoned without a fight. He'd built every inch. She pressed her forehead to the cold glass, tears streaming, the full weight of the truth pressing down. A shadow shifted above the lobby. Linda lifted her chin and found Ryan on the mezzanine, his hands resting calmly on the railing as if he'd been waiting for hours. He didn't wave. He didn't speak. There was only a slow, deliberate nod that said everything.
He watched me find the plaque. He needed me to see it for myself.
Then he straightened, pushed away from the railing, and melted back into the gala, his work complete. Linda's mouth worked silently, but the words she wanted to scream died in her throat. She stood frozen under the grand chandelier, the weight of his silence pressing down like a monument. Then, as if yanked by a wire, she snatched her clutch from the marble floor and stumbled toward the exit. Her heels cracked against the stone floor, the echo chasing her like a verdict. Up on the mezzanine, Ryan watched her burst through the revolving door. A quiet, satisfied smile crossed his face. He raised his coffee cup just a fraction, a silent toast to the revenge she'd never see coming. The next morning arrived pale and sharp. Linda sat in the driver's seat, still wearing her robe, her phone clutched in both hands. The toll account screen glowed, its balance a quiet indictment of every morning she'd taken the fast road.
He's been watching me pay. Every dollar, every trip, he knew.
Her thumb hovered over cancel for a full minute. Then she pressed down.
There. I am done paying for his victory.
She started the engine and turned away from the toll highway entrance. The ramp shrank in her side mirror. The long road unspooled ahead. 2 lanes, no gantries, no cameras logging her passage.
15 minutes longer. A small price to never see his name again.
The sun climbed higher, painting the hills in gold. She hadn't noticed the beauty of this route in years, but the weight in her chest didn't lift. The damage was done, and every mile reminded her who had paved the way. That same morning, Ryan opened the subscriber dashboard in his corner office. One account blinked red, canceled. He stared at the label for a full 3 seconds.
She knows.
He set the tablet down and walked to the glass wall overlooking the toll highway. Below, the lanes were full of morning commuters, an endless stream of blinking transponders.
She'll drive the long way now. 30 minutes extra. I'll take that as interest.
His gaze drifted to the lobby atrium below, where the old pickup sat under its glass dome, the same truck she'd called a heap. Now, it sat on polished marble, engraved in brass. He let out a quiet breath. The only release of tension he allowed himself. The score was settled. Not with anger, but with concrete. Every mile she'd mocked had been laid down in his name. Linda's new commute became a quiet ritual. The extra miles a penance she paid in silence. Ethan never asked why she stopped taking the toll road. Some silences were easier than answers.
I could have been happy with him if I hadn't chased what I thought I deserved.
Ryan never checked the canceled account again. The dashboard showed thousands of other subscribers now. He walked down to the lobby that evening, as he often did, to stand before the glass case. The old truck gleamed under the spotlight, its rust immortalized like a trophy. He read the plaque, not for the words, but for the weight they carried. A silent understanding passed between the man and the machine. They had built more than roads. Somewhere on a winding two-lane road, Linda drove past a sign marking the toll bypass exit and didn't look. The gantry lights flickered on above the empty highway, waiting for the next morning rush. Another day of invisible reckoning. Ryan shut down his laptop that night with no fanfare, only the soft click of the lid closing. Downstairs, the old truck caught the last of the lobby light, a monument to every mile she'd once mocked. On the long morning road, Linda's headlights carved a path that was now purely her own.
He built a highway, and I am driving the long way home. We both got what we deserved.
The black SUV with the Reed Infrastructure logo passed her going the opposite direction, a silent blur. Ryan didn't look up. He didn't need to. The toll gantries were his eyes now, and they never blinked. The vehicle that built every mile. A truth carved in brass that she could never outrun. And every morning, as the sun hit those gantries, the tolls tallied another page in a ledger she'd never close. She drove on, through twisting roads that added miles to every journey, as if the long way home was the only kind of distance that made sense. And somewhere behind her, the toll highway carried on without her, waiting for nobody, charging everyone else.